So moving on from, I guess, the content model, we'll start talking about, I guess, stream processing with Alfresco. Now, what stream processing is actually being able to work out what's happened in Alfresco and what the system is, what current state the system is in. If you think about a bank statement, which we've got here on the right, you've got your credits and your debits, and then you've got your total amount at the bottom. But your total amount is actually just the sum of all parts that came before it. And Alfresco as a repository is the same thing. We can actually use this to integrate with external systems, this particular property. So maybe we want to replicate between two agencies that haven't quite merged yet. We can use this for analytics and reporting. So each time there's an update within Alfresco, we can send that to an index so we can actually do reporting on that. We'll see that later. If you want to do some trigger external events, for instance, send an email whenever someone accesses a document, or you know, you may want to actually convert videos or so on and so forth. We can actually use this, so we can be agile in what we actually use this tool for. And then obviously merging and splitting, so dealing with the machinery of government. You have two agencies, they have separate repositories. How do you merge them in and make sure that they're all appropriate when they actually get to that new repository? Or you may be splitting them apart, and maybe each of them needs a copy of the record or not. So how do we do this? We've got a tool called Apache Camel, and thank you, Claudia, for the picture. There is no actual logo for this. It's an open source enterprise integration framework. So what that means is we can deploy some design patterns to actually help us with that. It's Java-based. There's 200 plus components, CMIS, SOAP, REST, and so on and so forth. There's awesome data formats that we can use. So we can take things in from like a Excel spreadsheet, CSV, a website, and you can create your own components as well. It's not limited to just Alfresco. It could be any repository. It could be Trim, Objective, it could be SharePoint, whatever you feel pertinent to your organization. Apache Camel describes the components, which are endpoints. They either consume information from a system or produce information to a system. Has a route, so this is from somewhere to somewhere else. You can apply filters, you can split it, you can do multicasting. I guess the amount of configuration you can do in this system is quite vast. There is some, obviously some front-end monitoring tools, so you can actually have a look at what's happening in the back end as you go, so you can actually see if there's any problems talking to external systems. Maybe a particular line of business application is down and it's retrying that over and over again. We can actually go in and trace and see what's actually happening there, why they're not communicating. So what we've done is we've actually created an event queue within Alfresco to allow us to pretty much pull down information. We list all the creations, the updates and deletions of documents, records, objects from the beginning of time to now. And we want to be able to rewind. So if there's any changes in the behavior or any changes in the rules you guys have for your repositories, you want to be able to rewind from the beginning of time and reapply all of those again and move through. One of the ways we can do this with a change log. So CMIS is a standard that most modern ECM platforms will actually comply with. And we can use a subset of that, which is the change log. So we can actually use this. The only real consideration here is that it is not from the beginning of time, it's actually after you've turned it on. So if we need to go back and check the changes before that, we can't actually use this facility. So what we've done is we've actually reused some of the tools within Alfresco to create a custom event queue. It's more closer to the source of information, makes it more efficient. We can tailor it to specific needs. So for instance, if you have a particular information you need to be able to pull out, we can tailor that for there. The considerations is that it is custom, it is Parashift built, and it is a custom Camel component. So we'll have a quick look at what that looks like. Here's an XML version, and it just prints out to a debug log. And I'll just jump into a demo to show you what that looks like. So here I have my handy command prompt. and if I spell that correctly, we can start the daemon. What this is going to do is that it's actually going to pull down all of the information from the demo server that we've been working on today, and it's just going to print out, I guess, the activity to a log file so we can see what's going on. So as you can see here, we've got a number of different entries that are coming through. Pretty much the properties of the node and the information around the node and the event type here. So, for instance, this entry that I'm looking at here is a folder. Whenever we make any future change to this, this will keep on going. It doesn't ever stop. So every 5 seconds, it's going to query for any changes that have been made, so you can have that information as fast as possible. So we can use this to say have a continual migration between two systems. So what we've got here is actually 2 instances of Alfresco set up, and we can have them talk to each other and replicate across between each other. So if I comment that particular entry out and add this one here, if we go back into, what I'm going to do is I've got 2 sites. I've got one in our Alfresco demo server called Stream Source, and this just has community relations, which is one of the functions. And then we've got this other instance over here. So this may be in another organization or agency, and this is Stream Target. And they've also got their own information as well. So what we want to do is be able to merge those 2 together. I will rerun the stream processing, and what we'll see is that they'll converge together and actually merge each of their the folders and the files between the 2, so they're kept in sync. And I guess while that's going on and while we're waiting for that, we can actually bring up what that looks like from a monitoring perspective as well. So if we actually jump on, we can actually have a look and see what's going on. We've got our 2 routes, one from the demo to the stream server, and then one from the other way. We can actually jump in and have a look at, I guess, the processes as they happen, and you can see it start plotting the information here on the right. So you can actually see what's happening as it goes on, how much time things are taking to go ahead, and just have a bit of an understanding of, if there's any sort of bottlenecks, you can actually see that as well. And what we'll see eventually is that once that finishes, we'll see those 2 converge on each other when we get to the end of it. So if we keep watching that there, we can actually see that some of these exchanges are going up. So a lot of stuff's happening. We can also have a look at, obviously, the route diagrams as well, and we can see what's going on. We've actually got a bit of a filter in place here, because we don't want to replicate the entire system. We're just going to replicate one site across. We don't want all the information, just because it would take too long to get through. So as you can see, now that we've converged, we've actually got those 2 folders in both locations. So rather than have 2 systems separate, they're sort of kept in sync and continuously in sync. So if I was to go into this folder here and say drop a document, within 5 seconds this will go to the other system as well. So if we go here and we have a look, you can see the one that I've just created is here. If I change any of the properties here, so testing description, that will actually reflect back into the other system. So you don't need to worry about keeping things in sync. So as you can see, that's just been set there.